at ButcherBoy415. We call him Joe Shasky. He promised fireworks on Rafael Devers, everything Sox, Giants, and so much more. Joe, thanks for taking a little in-family time to join us here on WEEI on a Friday afternoon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Fitzy, and let me tell you, West Coast is the best coast, baby. Let's go. I'm a Frisco fifth-generation native. Come on. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Bring Rafi in, baby.
I'm telling you, you may think it works for you, like, oh, what a perfectly good tricycle somebody left in front of the house, but there's a reason why someone got rid of it. Just you wait until those tires pop and the rust sets in. I want to ask you about something you said earlier this week. Well, first, just give me your first initial thought of, because we all just like were completely sideswiped and bomb blasted by the Father's Day news. Us right around supper time, you probably mid-afternoon. What was your first response when you heard, "Holy smokes, we just got Rafi Devers for nothing"?
Well, I mean, it's Father's Day. I'm getting ready to watch the U.S. Open restart. I'm sitting on the couch, my kid's playing ball, whatever, and all of a sudden, I don't even know who this guy is that reported it. My phone starts going crazy. I go, well, he's not a Boston guy. He's not a San Francisco guy. Some guy, Murray. And I'm calling everybody I know, and they're like, I think this is real. And then Jeff Passan comes flying over the top, and I'm like, it's real. Let's go. No, let me peel it back for a second. I know someone very close to the Red Sox, Paul Taboni. I know their whole family. He's a Frisco boy. I grew up playing ball with his entire family, and so I have watched the Red Sox from afar. I hate Boston sports. Straight up. Hate
yes,
Boston
thank
sports.
you.
All right,
Bring
I'm
it.
going to tell you that right now. All right, no, but the truth is that I watched the Netflix doc that you guys had, and I became a big fan of Duran. I became a big fan of Cora, and a guy who was not involved in that Netflix doc at all is Rafi Devers. So I've watched from afar as assistant GM Paul Taboni, who's a San Francisco boy. I know his whole family. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting now for this team because I have a connection. And the whole year I'm going, well, they bring in Bregman. Trevor Story's been a nightmare. And Giants fans are going, we should go after Devers. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't want to play third base for the Red Sox, so they don't want him playing third base because he can't catch a lick. And then now he doesn't want to play first base. There's no way they're moving this guy. So when it went down, I felt like a moron because I must have yelled at 20 different callers who came at us, oh, we should be going after Devers. I go, he's not going to play first base. And so this whole move stunned me. I'm shocked that he got traded. I'm shocked that the Giants pulled it off by giving you, I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, a bunch of cast-offs. And I'm just shocked that Buster Posey found a way to swing a big-time deal. I'm blown away by the whole thing.
All right, Joe, I'll bite on something you said just a moment earlier. What's your perspective and the perspective of San Francisco sports fans on Boston sports fans? And what do you make of the state of the Red Sox as somebody who watches another team?
Well, I mean, first off, look, you got to understand that growing up in San Francisco, you guys were the lovable losers, and then in like the OOs, okay? I watched from afar. Pedro's one of my favorite players of all time, period. 98 Pedro is one of the greatest players of all time. When you throw that hard, that inside, that nasty, oh, dude, he's badass. And him and Tim Lincecum, if my life was on the line, I'm taking 98 Pedro, number one. I'm taking 2010 Tim Lincecum, number two. I'm talking about a game for my life on the line. It's definitely not Roger Clemens, who lost to Dave Stewart time and time again in the playoffs. But that being said, I watched the Red Sox rise to prominence, and it was a cool little story. But my God, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and it was cool for I'm an Irish guy, okay? I'm fifth-generation Catholic Irish here in San Francisco. To watch every Irish guy jump on the Red Sox bandwagon, it was disgusting. And then to see you guys break the curse, and we were still going through our own drought. I've always watched you guys, and I go, oh, my God, I'm sick of you. And then Tom Brady, the San Mateo boy, all my cousins played against him when he was at Sarah. You know, he was going for all the stuff that Montana had, which was the greatest quarterback of all time and the legacy on it. And look, at some point I just gave in on Brady, and I'm like, look, he's the GOAT. Like, he just is. And I hate the Celtics. I went out there for Game 4 when Steph beat you guys. And so, like, I just despise the Boston fans. You know probably why? Because you're a lot like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're insufferable and in people's face.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got a lot of like.
I love it. Hey, Joe, I'm curious to get was this something the owner, Greg Johnson, I mean, you look at some of the other big contracts that the Giants have on the books right now with Matt Chapman and Robbie Ray, but the Rafael Devers contract is twice as much as what those are. Were you surprised by the commitment from a financial standpoint that, Greg Johnson and the Giants went with this? Or was it trending this way for them to make a move this big, and you're not that surprised?
Well, so look, a couple of things here. Number one, they have failed time and time and time again to land a hitter in free agency. And I've been screaming to the high heavens, hey, look, Bonds grew up and went to the same school as Tom Brady, Sarah, so he grew up in the area. Him coming here as a big free agent changed the paradigm for the Giants. They went from candlestick to Pac Bell, and financially, it's like going from a Pinto to a Lamborghini in terms of finances. And so I've been dying for them to spend money, but nobody wants to come here and hit in this ballpark. And if you've ever hit a golf ball at Pebble Beach on like a miserable day, the marine layer keeps the ball from going out. You know what I mean? So if you're a hitter and you come here, your stats are going to be ruined. So why would you want to come here unless you have ties here? We tried to make a run at Aaron Judge. I mean, he used us as leverage for the Yankees, that bum. Don't even start me on that guy. We should have hit him when we played him first weekend of the year. He drives me nuts. He's a mediocre center fielder. But that being said, their best avenue was to absorb a heavy contract like this. Now, am I surprised they did it? Yes. Because we had a Poindexter, okay, a pencil pusher, an Excel spreadsheet guy running the team for 7 years, and he couldn't do anything. He was platooning a bunch of journeymen up and down the lineup. There's not a jersey my kid wanted to buy. I coach baseball in the inner city here in San Francisco. I got a program with 75 kids in it from all across the city. No one wanted a guy from the Giants' jersey on their backs. None of the kids. We had no swag. We had nothing that connected to the community. And then Buster Posey took over, and it happened in September. They re-signed Matt Chapman. They bring in Adames, and they clearly overpaid for him, but he's a really good guy, and he's friends with Devers. They have made $500 million in commitments since Buster Posey got here. So I'm not surprised because Posey's an old-school baseball guy, but I am surprised that they actually found a way to hoodwink Craig Breslow to send him to us for a kid in Kyle Harrison can't find the strike zone.
Oh, God. You're talking to Mr. Low Energy himself, co-host of the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game out in San Francisco, Joe Shasky, who I would love to absolutely pull up to the bar at 21st Amendment and have a couple and argue Boston sports versus San Francisco sports all night. You're coming to me from one of my favorite cities in America, if not the world. And I do love the fact, Joe, it is not lost on a guy, a Tom Brady stan and Boston sports lifelong superfan like myself, that it took somebody like a San Mateo / Bay Area boy in Tom Brady to come unlock the next level for Boston sports. That's why I want the statue. That's why I want the statue of him they're about to unveil outside of Gillette Stadium in August to be taller than Christ the Redeemer, because he means that much to all of us.
I love it.
But as far he's the best. He's the greatest. And Ted, I mean, brag.
No, he really is.
Ted played with him and won 3 Super Bowls with him, for God's sake. So
taught him everything he knows.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like to sit. That's why I like to sit extra close to Teddy in studio, just for Brady osmosis. Anyway, so about Rafael Devers, I'm curious about how you and San Francisco fans, who are super pumped and jazzed like a shirtless Pete Carroll about Rafael Devers coming to town for a bag of balls and nothing else, right? Or at least a couple of stiffs from your minor league roster and your bullpen. I'm curious if you guys have any sort of fear of the other shoe dropping, meaning like when he becomes a malcontent or when and if his bad attitude shows up, because you can think that when you finally start dating this girl, everything's wine and roses, but everyone tells you like soon enough, she's out till 2 a.m. and she's hooking up with other guys and it's only a matter of time. Like we tried to talk ourselves into Porzingis being the answer to the Celtics and they won a championship, but again, now he got hurt all over again and we got to move on from him. So how do you feel about that?
All right, so a variety of things. Number one, let's get to the attitude. Dude, I root for the Warriors in Draymond Green. The guy punched the lights out of a teammate before, okay? I will look the other way if you can, do some things on the field, if I'm Devers here, and you can hit. If the guy can mash, I'll look the other way. One of my favorite players of all time is Barry Bonds. He's probably the biggest jerk in the last 40 years in professional sports who was actually good. So I think it would be very hypocritical for me to not say, like, the old classic talent over tolerance, right? So if the kid's talented and he shows it, then I'm willing to be tolerant regarding the attitude and all this stuff. Look, he said all the right stuff early on. I'll play any position. It was a total middle finger to the Boston Red Sox, to the fans, to everyone. I mean, we know how this goes. But I remember how I felt on your guys' side when T.O. left the Niners and we traded him for a bag of chips and he shows up and he's making sweet music with Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid, I would be livid too. Trust me, I've been there. I get it. I do get it. But again, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So in this particular circumstance, we were down so bad. We're going up against the freaking juggernaut Dodgers. Do you see what they got in their lineup? They got your boy Mookie, one of the worst trades in the history of baseball, the Babe notwithstanding. They got Shohei Ohtani. They got Freddie Freeman. I hate their guts. We needed something. So I would just say this. Thank you, Craig Breslow, for having no human interactions whatsoever in your life to treat this guy like a normal human being and actually just be honest with him. Like, I don't know what happened, but here's the thing. I would also acknowledge this. Clearly,
You're welcome.
Rafi did some, I would say, dumb stuff. You know, you can't piss off the owner. If the owner's giving you hundreds of millions of dollars, you got to look him in the eye and you got to play ball with him. That's number one. Number two, come on, man. How are you going to look at your teammates and not play first base? I mean, come on. I know you want to play third. I know you're angry. I know you're hurt. But, like, you know how sports is. I mean, you get an opportunity. You got to make the most of it. I know that you're well paid and all this stuff. You got to meet me in the middle here. I just think he was done with the whole situation.
Interesting. Good stuff, Joe. And last question for us. I'm just curious. You've described him basically, to the most part, to the prospects that the Red Sox got back as, you know, a ham sandwich and a bag of balls. But can you expand on that a little bit more? I mean, what are we getting in Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, and the other two position players? I mean, is there any chance at all that one of these players turns out to be something?
Look, I'm obsessed with the Giants minor league system, okay? So I'm probably the perfect person to ask. I like Tibbs. Tibbs has been hitting in low single. He's a rookie, though. I mean, he just got drafted last year, and he just really started to catch fire the last month or so. Defensively, I guess he leaves a lot to be desired. I don't know how that plays in your ballpark. Maybe they move him to left field. I don't know. I really don't know down the line. The kid can hit, though. I like him. I actually do like him. I think he can be a player. I mean, he's no Rafael Devers at the plate, but, you know, we'll see. Kyle Harrison. This is a local boy. He grew up 25 minutes outside of San Francisco pitching for one of the better high school programs in the area. I have followed him from the beginning of his career. I knew about him, 6, 7, 8 years ago before he even got drafted by the Giants because of my affiliations with baseball around here. The kid was a stud. At one point, he was the number 2 prospect in all of baseball as a pitcher behind Paul Skeens. What I have seen from him in the 40 or so starts, and I'm rooting for him. Trust me, I like the kid. I'm rooting for him. He is a one-pitch guy right now. He's a fastball guy. He leaves it up, okay? He doesn't trust the changeup, and he has no slider curve. They call it a sweeper. I don't know what it is. He can't get it over for a strike if life depended on it. But here's the part I don't understand. Andrew Bailey, who your pitching coach is right now, was his pitching coach the last couple of years in San Francisco. So whatever he was doing clearly wasn't working. They're going to have to go back to the workshop here, and they got to work on this kid's confidence. He's got to get another pitch over for a strike. I thought he reminded me of a young Madison Bumgarner early on. He just has not lived up to the hype at all. I think he's multiple years away. That being said, if you can get him right, I mean, a high-end lefty prospect who's only 23, it's a good get. But it's not an everyday player who's going to back close to 300 and hit 30 and drive in 100. We needed that. We have pitching. So I love this deal for the Giants, and thank you, Boston.
I'll tell you right there, folks, there is a man whose breath burns hotter than that of a kaiju attacking San Francisco on the silver screen. He is the card-carrying member of the San Francisco Giants fan club, as well as a co-host of the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game out in San Francisco. Joe Shasky, give him a follow at ButcherBoy415. This was the first time in Shasky. I hope it is not the last. Good luck this weekend, my guy, and thanks for some time.
I'm going to the game tonight with my cousin, and I'm hoping Debbie's at first base. Oh, my God, your guys' heads are going to explode.
Please, whenever you put any social media out, if Devers gets a hit, a home run, or plays first, at us, include us, and just rub our faces in it, okay?
I will. I will, and vice versa. And by the way, I am pulling for the Patriots now that no one cares about them in the country. So now that no one cares about them, I will pull for them. Go Drake May. Boys, have a look. Oh, last thing. Your stadium is still one of the best. I went to the interleague game against Giants Red Sox 2007 when Bonds hit the home run off Wakefield. I'm a baseball lifer. Fenway is a pilgrimage for a sports fan. It's one of the sickest spots on the planet. You guys are so lucky. And that's it. Call me anytime, boys.
Thanks, Joe.
I appreciate you. Joe Shasky, thanks very much for joining us here in WEEI.